If Charlie's Angels bombs, it just reinforces a stereotype in Hollywood that men don't go see women do action movies. Or it's just a shit film. Maybe. It could just be that. But who am I? Just a viewer. An audience member. One of the people that didn't go and see Charlie's Angels. So men are to blame for her failure, apparently. Elizabeth Banks. Elizabeth Banks, I'm not gonna lie, someone I like a bit, but like, you're making me like you less and less with this needless throw to politics in a film which is not about that at all. Like, if you're making a film about the Democrats or Republicans or the election or whatever, then I get politics will be involved in the film. But if you're just going to insert it into just any random film now, or at least in the press for the film, expect the result you get, I guess. That's it's just the way it is. So it's sort of like, you don't get your way. You don't get your way, so it has to be sexists? So you don't get your way, so it's misogynists? So you don't get your way, so it's men? I don't know. I don't think that's the reason. So if you don't know, and you probably don't know because the film made no money, Charlie's Angels came out this weekend. Yeah, the remake of a remake, which the remake wasn't very good anyway. At the same time, you know, it sort of did have some quintessential campy charm to it. There was something to those two films. I think the first one of those, I think one of them was called Full Throttle. I think one of them was just called Charlie's Angels. They were shitty, you have to be honest. They weren't very good. But there was this intrinsic feeling of nostalgia when watching those films. So they obviously did something right, because they do have some type of cult following, but I think they overestimated how much people like that film or that franchise. And apparently it's more of a troll franchise that people like to watch because it's bad, as opposed to watching it because it's good. Nothing wrong with that, because, you know, it's iconic in its own way. But I think by them remaking it in the way they have, I think it's probably tainted that campy nature of it from the Lucy Liu, Cameron Diaz and Drew Barrymore stint in the franchise. But the point is, Elizabeth Banks is, you know, obviously the director of the two bad Pitch Perfect films. And trust me, there is one that's good. The first one is actually good. Let's not play. That first Pitch Perfect film is solid. I'll watch that whenever. It's actually a good film. It's fun. It's enjoyable. Anna Kendrick is super likable in it. And just to be specific on numbers, the film made $8 million on its opening weekend. Now, that is, that's not good. All things considered, that's actually really, really bad. Like, shockingly bad. Abhorrently bad. Stunningly bad. Unthinkably bad. It's awful. And I'll even give it to Miss Banks here for a second. If we straight up took it to an extreme and doubled the opening weekend of Charlie's Angels, it's still not pretty reading for the accountants. It's still not bueno. Because the film cost about $50 million to make. I would think had about a $50 million marketing budget, even though it was supposedly more than that, and then they cut it down to 50. Which means they had a total budget of about 100 million. Cinemas, if you don't know, take between 30 and 40% of all total box office. So you say between 33 and 35 normally. So the film needs to make 150 million to break even. To make any money at all. So they're fucked. They're fucked. It's not happening. It's not happening, Boomer. That felt a bit like Palpatine. That was some sick laugh. The thing is, you have to be fair. If you don't make a good film and you don't market it well, there's no marketing campaign, there's no structure to it, Don't blame anyone else. The fault lies on you, your team, and the studio. You mucked up. You went too far one direction, and apparently the film isn't god-awful, but the marketing just looked shit. While Elizabeth Banks is coming out and saying, if men don't see it, they're sexist and it's not supportive to women in film, like, the audience for Charlie's Angels is women, alright? It's women. I looked at the breakdown of the box office results. Apparently it's 66% female, 34% male. So really, if anything, it's not just the fact men didn't go see the film. It's the fact everyone, including women, didn't go and see the film in numbers you would have liked. Because it got the demographics you would have wanted. 66% female. Women just didn't go see it. I even saw the demographic breakdown from who went to see the film. It was like over 50% people were white, like 20% Hispanic. Asians were like 15%, and African Americans, in specifically America, were under like 12%, I think. So even though Asians make up like a tiny proportion of the country in America, apparently they went to see this particular film more than African Americans. So like we can say all these things, diversity, you know, we need diversity in films. When there's diversity in films, apparently this is super diverse. No one went to saw it. No one went to see it. I'm learning, I'm practicing my English every day. I'm getting there. It's been 24 years now. Don't just blame men when your core audience is women and they also didn't go see it. I think it speaks, as I said, to the marketing campaign and the film not looking very good overall. Well, also Kristen Stewart, you know, being pegged as like the star power for this. Not a great idea. Not the best idea you've had. I think it's Sony who made this. You know, I mean, I think Kristen Stewart's actually not a bad actress. She gets a bad rap. I think she's improved a lot. I think she can play certain roles well. But most people think she's really shit. You just have to be honest. Most people do not think she's good. She's not exactly super likable either. That doesn't really help when you're trying to sell a film. Trust me, it's not because you're, like, bisexual. That's not the reason why you haven't got a Marvel role or DC role. It's not. I really doubt that's the reason. Elizabeth Banks, man, I don't know how you're chatting so much nonsense. But the fact you're saying this thing about people not being able to see women in action roles, powerful roles, and it reinforces a stereotype. If your film does badly, your film's done bad because it wasn't very good. The Hunger Games is a $1 billion franchise. What's the problem with that? Rogue One was based on a female character. She was the lead protagonist. $1 billion film. I think there was the film with Charlize Theron. I haven't watched it, but apparently it's okay. It's like a John Wick, but women. I think people said it's not as good as John Wick, but it's still solid. Film made money. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to mention Wonder Woman, Lucy, Kill Bill, Lara Croft. You know, on the Underworld series, Resident Evil. Not exactly small things. So stop talking absolute bollocks. You don't have them. So, like, stop talking bollocks. So it's not this concept of people don't think women can do action films. It's if you make a good film, people will see it. If you make a bad film, no one is. I don't know, though. Maybe. Anyway, guys, if you did enjoy this video, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel down there. If you didn't, then the angels themselves will come after you. I honestly don't know why they just didn't cast Ariana Grande. It probably would have made more money opening weekend if she was cast. But yeah, the angels, they'll come after you. They can do bad shit, you know. They're badasses. They can do action films. You don't want that. You really don't, so just subscribe anyway to avoid that. And I've been NarendraTheComic. You have been great. I'll see you next time. That's tomorrow. I make a video every single day. See you tomorrow. Skadoosh.